The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening. Welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms a community that sees and shares all things new. This is Julia Robillos, streaming live from Cebu City, and you're watching Inspiring Moments on TNC. Yan, welcome back again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Alam nyo, tonight, super duper excited ako kasi ang pag-uusapan natin tonight is all about better health or better science for better health. And our guest for tonight is medyo exceptional siya. And you know, when I met him and I said, oh wow, one day, interviewin kita sa show ko kasi alam niyo naman yung ating show. We want to inspire people not just about life, but of course about health. And today, yun yung pag-uusapan natin, how to achieve better health with better science. And my guest for tonight is an advocate of restoring health using the latest advances in science in combination with natural therapies. He is the CEO of MiMMO Molecular Immunology, located at the Centuria Medical Makati, and one of the most advanced clinics to offer P4 medicine. P4 medicine. Ayun, mamaya tatanungin natin siya about this. Using state-of-the-art medical diagnostics from genetic profiling, nutrient panel testing, heavy metal test, Nutrigenomics, and personalized nutritional programs. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Rico Colayco. Yes, Sir Rico, good evening. Yes, welcome to the new channel po. Welcome to Inspiring Moments on TNC. Ayan, kaya talaga naman super excited ako ngayon, sir, kasi pag-uusapan natin, alam ko ano to eh. It's all about better health using better science. Ayan po, kasi alam ko, medyo hindi lahat ng tao aware dito. And yung ako nga, first time kong narinig to sa'yo, sobrang talaga po akong excited. And then parang nag-level up ako, yung consciousness ko biglang nag-level up na meron palang ganitong klaseng tinatawag na P4 medicine, no? So akala ko yung mga P na yan, eh, parang marketing lang yata ang alam ko, eh, placement, product, promotion, prices. Meron palang tinatawag na P4 medicine. Pero bago natin pag-uusapan yun, sir, meron lang akong gusto itanong sa'yo na alam ko very important ito. You are an advocate of restoring the well-being of individuals through the use of latest sciences and other non-pharmacological, pharmacological treatment for other dreaded diseases. Medyo naiiba yun eh. So my question is, who and what inspired you to pursue this kind of mission? Kasi medyo challenging yun eh.
Yes. So thank you, Ms. Julia. So first and foremost, one of our slogans, or our main slogan really, is restoring the joy in living, because what's the point of living if you're not enjoying yourself, if you're not happy, vibrant, full of life, right? And to answer your question directly, I think let me answer it from a personal perspective. We all at some point in our life go through what you call a crisis point. Yes. And this crisis point will be inevitably at some point our health. So it's when we reach this crisis point in health that we begin questioning ourselves. Why did this happen to me? Why me? That sort of thing. And then you realize, okay, so your default is immediately, oh, I'll see a doctor. That's no problem. That's correct. See a doctor. You can get yourself diagnosed. But what if there's no immediate diagnosis? Or what if the diagnosis is not exactly a fit? Because remember, in medical practice, you cannot be given a specific pharmacological intervention or medicine if there's no diagnosis. That's rule number one. There has to be a diagnosis. But there are so many syndromes. They're not disease. They're not considered a disease. And yet, the symptoms are debilitating. From fatigue, uh, feeling like a laggard, um, lack of sleep, brain fog, you can't think, pain, chronic pain. Your joints are painful, your muscles are painful, your functionality, your functionality is probably what? Diminished 50%, 40%. Others, 20% pa nga, right? I mean, this is the reality. So what do you do? And so I reached a crisis point where I questioned everything because I went to the best doctors here and abroad. Man, this is not to brag. This is just my journey. So I found myself being with the best doctors locally. I found myself supposedly with very good doctors in the US, in Germany, in Belgium, in France, uh, and around Asia. The thing is, no one could seem to really address the root cause of the multitude of symptoms that I was experiencing. Let's start. I wake up in the morning, I feel like I'm jet lagged. I want to sleep again. So there's not a refreshing kind of sleep for me. I might sleep, but the moment I wake up, it's there. Jet lag, the feeling of jet lag is there. How do you describe jet lag? It's that combination of feelings where your mind isn't awake, and so your cognitive functionality is diminished. So you're not crisp when you read very basic material, as simple as a newspaper article. You can't comprehend it. When I drive around, oh my gosh, it's not as simple as saying, "Oh, sige, I'll go to meet you in Quezon City, so I'll take EDSA," right? No, I cannot remember EDSA, but I need to get to my car, and then I will coach myself. Oh, you turn left, turn right. It's that bad. And then there's chronic pain. What I mean by chronic pain? Imagine somebody who ran a marathon, and the day after he's very inflamed. But imagine that condition 24/7 as a normal. That's how painful it is. So
Yes.
this,
Now I agree talaga, Sir
this
Rico.
yes, so this led me to ask why? Why isn't there a medicine for this? And doctors were telling me, we can't diagnose you. If you don't can't diagnose you, we can't give you anything. So they started to give me medicines. What? Pain meds. That's it.
Yan na nga,
Hanggang doon.
medyo nakakalungkot kasi like, yeah, I used to work as, of course, dati akong nasa pharma, and for so many decades kasi, like ako in my case, no, I took up BS chemistry in college, so you can just imagine yun, and then exposure ko sa pharma. And we have been educated, sir, no, for naka-program na kapag ka non-pharma non-pharma, hindi siya effective. So, syempre, lahat tayo, kapag we have a health challenge, our tendency really is to go to that kind of direction, no? Or ano bang tawag natin, modalities. Unfortunately, pag dumating sa time that, you've tried almost everything and nothing happened, biglang eto maghahanap-hanap ka na ngayon ng
Yes.
alternative. And yun, sir, naalala sabi mo, crisis point, no? And sometimes, alam naman natin, pinapahintulot ng Diyos yan, di ba? Inaalaw ni God yan talaga para siguro magkaroon ng mga advocates na kagaya mo. And alam ko, nag-research ako doon sa clinic ninyo, mostly of your patients are actually marami kang mga medical practitioners. Hindi na natin babanggitin kung sino-sino yon, pero siguro yun na nga yun dumating rin sa crisis point. Correct. Na walang nagawa. Parang sinabi nung isa kong friend na doctor from the US, no? He's actually a specialist in pain management. Na-interview ko na siya dito, si Dr. Ed de los Reyes. And sabi niya, I became a patient of my own practice. And that was also the reason why he became an advocate of, para bang educating people to be liberated. So that leads to my next question, sir. Kasi yun na nga sabi ko, for so many decades, we have been programmed and educated that if it is non-pharma, it's not effective or it's not the best alternative. I'm not sure if na-share mo na yung thoughts mo dito, but maybe can you comment on this?
Okay. I think objectively, what I'd like to share with all your patients out there and all your listeners is let's go back to the science. Like you said, we'd like to advocate for the latest technologies. So in the science of medicine, there is what you call physiology. That's the study of cells. And there is a multitude of information in very reputable websites like the National Institutes of Health, PubMed, and the like. And there were so many journals, including the British Medical Journal, which is one of the top key journals for medical research. And you will find a treasure trove. And the reality is it takes 15 years from what is out there in research that has been proven through research with peer-reviewed studies made, with clinical trials actually conducted, and yet not yet being adopted by mainstream. And like you said, the reason for that is, and this is not to attack anyone, this is not to make any institution wrong, but it's just that the standard practice of medicine is towards a pharmacological intervention. But if you go back to the science, physiology, then what I'd love to impart, if there's something you're going to take home today, is that we have a roadmap. We have a roadmap, and that's what P4 medicine is about. And this roadmap will help you understand how your physiology works, how your cells work, why certain foods end up making you sick, and why other certain types of foods make you well. So that's what I'd like to impart. And if you'd like to go deep in better detail, the three main pathways of physiology is inflammation, oxidative stress, and the immune system. And we know the immune system is like the spine. You and I can sit erect or stand or do physical activity because the spine is upright. But what is the spine of our physiology? That's the immune system. That's the number one, right? The immune system is number one. But what's the spine of the immune system? Nutrients, not antibiotics. It's nutrients, specifically vitamin D3 with K2. That's one of the best. Why? Because it works hand in hand with Asea's products, which is perfect, which is the how do you call this? The driving engine of our entire energy production, ATP. So with these three systems, if you understand these three, you will be able to achieve homeostasis. So homeostasis is balance, right? And where you have balance, it's okay. That means to say, regardless of where you are, you might have an acute symptom. You might be in debilitating condition. But if you go back to balance, to homeostasis, your body will heal. So that's
Exactly.
the message I'd like to bring out there.
Yeah. I agree with you, Sir Rico, di ba? Kasi sabi nyo nga, lalo na ngayon, no? Inflammation is trending. After the vaccination, a lot of people now, according to my doctor's friends, are suffering from inflammation everywhere. Inflammation probably somewhere sa gut area or sa back area or muscle and everything, no? And parang they were saying that it's being triggered by the vaccine.
Myocarditis,
yes,
inflammation
exactly.
of the heart.
Tama po, arthritis. But anyway, sir, yes. I am very much interested on what you shared with. I'm sorry, nawala aking. Okay, I'm very much interested with the one you shared with me that, di ba yung clinic ninyo, the MiMMO Molecular Immunology Clinic, is one of the most advanced clinic na nag-o-offer ng P4 medicine. Kindly educate us, sir, about P4 medicine. Kasi alam ko hindi, or I would say probably 90% of Filipinos now, hindi alam yung P4 medicine. Alam ko medicine. Pero yung P4 medicine, sir, I think it's very important to
Yes.
educate. If you can say it in a layman's, para simple lang maintindihan ng
Correct.
ordinary Filipino po.
So P4 medicine can be summed up into one word or two: integrative medicine. So you integrate both the standard of care, right, including pharmacological, that's fine. But that's for acute. But when it comes to the chronic type of illnesses like diabetes, hypertension, chronic migraines, chronic blurry eyes, whatever chronic condition there is, or syndromes, that's where other modalities come in, such as the modalities of ASEA, our modalities like hydrogen therapy, vitamins and nutrients. So that's what this is about. So in short, P4 means 4 kinds of Ps. Okay, hindi yan yung P4 na dole out ng ating government sa ating mga indigenous people. No? P4 stands for P. The first P is preventive. Let's prevent disease in the first place. Let's prevent symptoms. Ngayon, tatanong ka, what if I already have the symptom? What if I have already the condition? Okay, we will prevent it from escalating further. We will bring you back to homeostasis so you can heal. So that's what preventive medicine is about. So all of this, by the way, is a new model of understanding for primary care. Right? This is a deeper level for primary care, so that people understand that it's really simple. Primary care talaga to, hindi to specialist care. I mean, if you have a heart attack and you need to be operated on, okay, yun. Okay, yun specialist yun. But this is primary, right? So the first P is preventive. The next one is predictive. How can we predict? So we have very specific blood markers that point to, remember the 3 pillars, the 3 very important systems. So we have markers for immune dysfunction, we have markers for oxidative stress, and we have markers for inflammation, which is now trending, as you were saying. So that's what the preventive, or the predictive rather, the predictive second P represents. And another way that we do this in MiMMO is we use genetic profiling. Because think of your genes as the unique makeup of your cells. So which of your genes tend to produce or tend to how do you call this, your propensity? Which one leads to a propensity to inflammatory symptoms? Which one leads to immune symptoms? Which one leads to oxidative symptoms? Right? So your genes are like recipes. Okay? So if you have a particular restaurant, that's one person. And in that restaurant, they cook omelette in a different way, right? Another restaurant will also cook omelette in a different way. So every person is unique. Every restaurant is unique. So if you understand how the recipe works, then you can create any number of omelettes you want. And you can create the best tasting, nutrient-rich omelette. Diba? So apart from those, we have the personalized. Eto, like I said, every restaurant is different. Every person is different. Kahit nga kakambal eh. Kambal. Literally, 5 minutes apart lumalabas yan. Kambal na kambal yan. Identical twins pa, identical. Separate, iba pa rin yung genes. There are still differences. So it's important to understand from the perspective of the 3 main pillars: inflammation, oxidative stress, and immune dysfunction, how we can help them by understanding their genes so that we can provide the correct nutrients or the correct, like for example, ASEA is not a nutrient. It's a specific, it's an electron donor. But how does that help? That's very important because that is central to the production of ATP. because the engine of ATP is the redox mechanism, and the redox mechanism is at the center of our Krebs cycle. So nagkakadikit lahat yan. So for us to really personalize the treatment plan, you will be able to experience the most effective how do you call this treatment therapy for you. We have patients who literally fresh coming out of the hospital in a wheelchair. They come in, we give them our most viable therapies that are personalized, and we treat the mitochondria just like I say. We treat the mitochondria. Lumalabas ng clinic yan, wala na sa wheelchair, because the energy is back, because you brought back the redox mechanism into homeostasis. So it's that effective, it's that fast. And then, of course, apart from personalized, you have the last. It's participatory. Again, even in our modalities, not all patients will respond the same way. For example, hydrogen therapy. There are some patients na iba ang approach, iba ang application or administration of hydrogen. Not everyone will have the same flow rate. Not everyone will have the same 1 hour time. Some more, some less. Because there are some patients that are tachycardic. Mataas talaga yung heart rate. Yung iba naman, bradycardic, mababa masyado. So you have to understand the physiology so that you can optimize for the patient. And that's what we do in MiMMO. That's why every patient, we treat the patient, we treat the person. It's a human being. Hindi statistic yan. Sige, basta bigyan mo nito, bigyan mo. Hindi pwede.
Yes. Hindi pwedeng, lang sir, no? Hindi pwedeng pasyente ka lang. Tama ka, human being yan eh. Iba-iba ang makeup niyan, iba-iba ang genetic, yes.
You know, I'm excited about this because even with ASEA, we modify we have a standard protocol for ASEA, but we personalize it pa rin because based on the patient feedback, I don't follow the standard ASEA protocols. I personalized it for myself. And that's why I'm, extremely energetic. Apart from the other modalities.
Yes. Thank you for believers. Yes. Maraming salamat. Alam ko napakahirap mong kumbinsin na tao. When you did your research, kaya alam ko isa ka na rin ngayon talagang believer and endorser, if I may say so. No? And alam ko nakaka-experience lang madabat.
When I see the science and I see that it works, why not? It'll help people. It will accelerate their healing. Diba?
And so that leads me to my question na mo. Ito yung cellular healing kasi I have one doctor from isang friend ko and sabi niya ngayon daw a lot of doctors now are talking about cellular health. Kaya lang only a handful is aware that when you say cellular health, it simply means making your cells healthy. So like ako, I'm an ordinary person. I'm not a doctor, although may background ako sa pharma. But ang isa lang tinatandaan ko, if I want to be healthy, I will not feed myself with anything that is toxic to my cells. And if ever, I will be tempted to eat like kagaya nan, I'm in Cebu now. Ang daming lechon, left and right, grabe, hindi ako makatanggi sa lechon. Talagang masarap siya. Pag inimbita ka, lechon. Ako talaga naman, may kakambal yan sir dito sa Cebu. Yung lechon may kasamang munggo, kasi partner pala yon. So, talagang tagilid ang mga arthritis, no? But since I understood cellular health, so alam ko na, inom ako na maraming tubig, iinom ako na maraming redox, I always, every travel ko, I have a bottle or 2 bottles of my redox and I take more of it pag na-expose. But then again, yun na nga sir, ang sabi ko may mga tao na, especially sa medical field, no, hindi about cellular health. So, sa palagay ninyo, ano ang dapat gawin o paano natin ma-increase ang awareness o for them to appreciate like what you did? Ano ang dapat? Kasi kagaya kayo, ang dami niyong natulungan na nakita ko, nakausap ko mismo yung mga patients and they're not ordinary people. There are people who did some research, dig research on science, and then ang sinasabi sa akin I will search on that and then I'll get back to you. And pagbalik nila, ang dami nilang tanong. O di syempre, hindi naman ako sumasagot. Tumatakbo ako sa doktor, di ba? And today, they're enjoying, the, sinabi nyo yung energy, parang nabalik yung strength. But of course, we will not talk about redox here, no? Ang next ko na tanong sa inyo, sir, yun na nga yun, yung about cellular health. Ano ang dapat, gawin natin para ma-increase yung awareness? So ano ang dapat ng isang taong skeptic? Paano natin i-educate yung mga skeptic?
Okay, simple lang eh. Okay. When somebody is out of energy, anong nangyari? Masungit na, bugnutin na, hindi na makapag-isip. Anong tawag natin doon? Di ba lobat? Di ba? Pagka medyo hindi na nakakaintindi, di ba? Lobat na yan. Pagod na eh. Low battery, di ba? Low energy. Ang cellphone po natin, ganun din. Pagka medyo nawawala ng signal, lobat na kasi. Oh, lobat na ako ha. Saka na tayo mag-usap. Di ba? So it's all about energy. Will you agree? So anong dapat natin siguruhin? We have to make sure we understand how the body, how the cell produces energy. That's the main thing for cellular health. If you want to say that your cells are healthy, it's summed up into one term, one word, metabolism. Kaya there is a two-word term today that is central to our health. This understanding now in medical terms is independent of any viral condition or bacterial condition or fungal. So stands wala if there is no infection. All our symptoms basically are metabolic in nature. So the mechanism of the cell to produce energy is faulty. And which part? Kasi maraming piyesa yan. Marami tayong, kumbaga sa katawan natin, marami tayong organs. Our cells have a lot of organelles. And one of which is chiefly responsible for energy. That's the battery of our cell phone, the battery of our cars, the battery or the power supply of the house. In our body, the power supply or the powerhouse is what you call the mitochondria. So pag inayos natin yung cell metabolism or respiratory mechanism ng cell vis-a-vis the mitochondria's energy mechanism, ayos. The person bounces back. So yun lang ang pupuntirhin nila. How do you get the battery of the cell recharged? If they ask that question, yan lang tanungin nila sa internet. How do I fix my mitochondria? Ayan, dami na yan. Diyan papasok. Vitamin D3, vitamin K2. We may have a technical glitch. Okay. So, let me continue. If every person has a new consciousness to ask, and questions are very important, so you must ask, you must research, how can I improve my mitochondria? So, our cells have batteries, and they're called mitochondria. Now, every type of part of our body, our brain, our eyes, our heart, our liver, our kidneys, our spleen, our stomach, our lining, every cell tissue has batteries. They're all called mitochondria. And if you research on how to improve your mitochondria, whatever symptom you have, if you have brain fog, if you have blurry eyes, if you always have sinusitis or rhinitis, if you always have a cough, a dry cough, if you always have difficulty breathing, such as asthma or asthmatic symptoms, if you have chronic pain, it's all mitochondrial dysfunction. And if you research on how to improve the mitochondrial function, you will arrive at what Miss Julia mentioned earlier. She always takes a lot of water. Why water? Did you know that almost 70%, almost 70% of our body is composed of water? Why? Because water is made of two elements, hydrogen and oxygen. Oxygen is used by the cells to create energy. Hydrogen is used by the mitochondria to start this energy production. So that's part of the redox mechanism that ASEA addresses. And water, just by taking a lot of water, will already facilitate the redox mechanism. But of course, if you add specific nutrients that now address the redox mechanism, ASEA is one, vitamin D3 and K2 is another one, hydrogen therapy is definitely another one, among other nutrients like alpha lipoic acid, CoQ10, other vitamins too, vitamin E, vitamin A, vitamin C, these are antioxidants, for example. All of this will definitely lead to a healthy, functioning mitochondria. And if your mitochondria is functioning well, you are well. Simply put. So that's basically it. I hope Miss Julia can come back soon. Okay, so I invite anyone who I'm not sure if I'm going to be given this permission, but anyone can look us up at mimmohealth.com, and definitely we will guide you and help you in any way that we can, addressing your symptoms and experiencing a totally new level of enjoyment of life, because our slogan is enjoy, restoring the joy in living. And definitely we work hand in hand with Miss Julia. The products of ASEA are bar none. They're really very good, and we've been using them at our facility regularly. I personally use ASEA, and of course, it's a very practical product because, like Julia said, you can take it with you. And of course, we have our own set of nutrients that improve cellular metabolism and the redox mechanism sustainably. And that's what we're here for. We'd be more than happy to help anyone who has any debilitating condition, whether it be cancer, whether it be chronic kidney disease or a fatty liver condition, chronic pain for that matter. People who think they have to use eyeglasses. I'm 60 years old. I don't have glasses. I don't have contact lenses. And when I do splurge on ice cream, yeah, sometimes it blurs. But again, it's simply explained by sugar. Sugar is our number one culprit. If you eliminate sugar or carbohydrates from your diet, your body will restore very fast. And there are other modalities that we can share with you, such as intermittent fasting and how to properly incorporate natural whole foods into your lifestyle. So even if you're somebody who might consider himself as financially challenged, there are ways, natural ways. Just separate the carbohydrates from the proteins. Take more green leafy vegetables. Go into what do you call this, a fish diet. a healthy kind of fish, that's going to help you heal very fast. So there are natural modalities. Then, of course, fasting. Why fasting? You can do fasting. Why you want to do fasting? Why? Because then you can help the body reheal itself. How? There is a medical term or a physiologic term called autophagy. So you can look that up in the internet. Okay, autophagy, 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 meaning to say the consumption of self. So the cells recycle their organelles. Can you imagine that? That's how ingenious God the Father, and Jehovah created us. We have cells, we have organelles, and they recycle. And when they recycle, including the mitochondria, they get recycled, they renew. And that is cellular regeneration. Okay, we may be out of time. How do we end our session for this evening? If I may ask our director. Okay, I flashed. Let me see what is the message. Oh, okay. So let's talk about our food sources, right? And we're talking about farming here. And there is this methodology called biodynamic farming. So one of the principal proponents of biodynamic farming is, well, this is an international initiative. Germany is very advanced in this. Australia is as well. There are Filipino advocates for biodynamic farming. His name skips my mind right now, but it'll come to me. But here's the thing. Let me explain what biodynamic farming is in essence. Biodynamic farming is really going back to the basics. If you ever had relatives who, or our ancestors who say, "Oh, there is a time to fish. You cannot fish every day," or "There is a time to plant. There are certain seasons." Biodynamic farming is all about tuning the schedules of farming according to these seasons. So these are not traditional approaches, but these are methods that are aligned with the astrological position. So it's very scientific if you want to understand it that way. It immediately appears to be folklore because we're more inclined to think of farming as simply using fertilizers. But there is far more to farming. And if we use, how do you call this, biodynamic farming, we will really address the culprit, the key problem to the environment. So if you want to talk about how can we really help the environment, it's not carbon dioxide. It's not. Our trees will take care of carbon dioxide. Speaking of which, did you know that if you do not have enough carbon dioxide in your lungs, you will have asthma? You will hyperventilate. You can breathe all you want. You can breathe in all you want, but the oxygen will not be received by your cells because you don't have carbon dioxide. So that's a very important thing. So in the environment, it's not really carbon dioxide. So what is it? It's actually overutilization of, sorry to say, synthetic farming mechanisms like synthetic fertilizers, synthetic pesticides. All of these, apart from the fact that they're known carcinogens, they also contribute to global warming. Why? If you think it's carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide, it's not the case. Why? Because somewhere in the world, there is nighttime. And during the night, you're not really driving. The majority of the community, the majority of the population is asleep. right? That's why when you drive during the night, it's like the road is yours. But what human activity, what human activity actually goes on 24/7, even when we're asleep? That's the fertilizer we put into our soil. That's the pesticides we put into our soil. But if we go back to biodynamic farming, we will have sustainability. The soil will not become acidic. The soil will be very balanced. And you will be able to produce healthy farm products. Now, you might say, oh, can we produce apples all year round or mangoes all year round? No. But that's the point. We have to follow the cycle of nature. It's just like in our health. A lot of people fall prey to thinking, I only need 1 hour of sleep and I'm okay. Yes, okay, that's okay for you. Until when? I had a very young, no, come to think of it, I have a growing number of very young patients, 20 years old, 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, very young executives, high up in their organizations. Why? Because they end up they end up lacking sleep, and sleep is very important for cellular regeneration, right? Okay, so I think I have another cue. Okay, all right. If you're somebody literally that may not have the finances, what can you do? Number one, fasting. Fasting. Work at 14 hours a day of no eating. So the best time would be you eat your last meal at 5 p.m., right? And you can start eating at 7 a.m., right? So you have 24 hours in a day. What we should do is we should bridge the gap, or rather, yes, we want to reduce the gap between the period of eating so that the remaining time before you eat again is extended. That's the idea of fasting. If you can do an extended fast, 24 hours, in other words, you eat 1 meal a day, that will be good. But remember, there is the selection of food. Always remove processed food. Now, what is processed food? De lata, de paquete, de kahon, de supot, lahat ng nakalagay sa container. Wala yan. That is processed food. Okay? Save, of course, for specific nutrients that have to be packaged especially. But when we're talking about commercially available food for consumption, kalimutan nyo na yung delata. Because you can bring yourself back to health. Number one, by green leafy vegetables. Kangkong, kamote, kalabasa, sitaw. Tanggalin nyo lang yung buto. Right? And then, bawasan ang kanin. And again, add the fasting time. I have fasted for as long as 4 days. And I tell you, wow, it was wonderful. And there is a doctor in the US who espouses a 40-day fast. But with nutrients. You have to give the body nutrients. 40. Oh, parang biblical, parang si Jesus. 40 days. But you know
40
what?
days talaga. 40 days talaga.
Actually, 20 days lang, grabe na yung autophagy. So the cellular renewal is extreme. The organelles are literally replaced. You have new cells. Tinalo niya stem cell. Walang biruan. Tinalo niya ang stem cells. Kami, we have stem cells. Siyempre, if money is no object, gusto mong mabilis, so stem cell ka. But if you want to do it a functional way, even if you're someone who has basic income, kaya. Just fast and practice fasting for 16, 24, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. Ang sikreto, maraming tubig, because like you mentioned, Julia, you keep taking a lot of water. It is so central because water, as I mentioned earlier, has 2 elements, hydrogen and oxygen. Pupunta yun sa redox mechanism. When the water enters the cell, okay, it actually reacts with pyruvate. Sorry for the technical term. But that's the start of the Krebs cycle. So once that's produced, they split up. Hydrogen and oxygen split up. And that's the start of what? The redox mechanism. That's why
Wow,
water is so
grabe.
important.
So, sir, ibig sabihin, last question ko na lang to kasi medyo nawala ang ano ko, connection ko. I'm in
Oo nga
Cebu
po.
now, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm inside the hotel. So, but anyway, the last question ko na lang, sir. Eto, no? Kasi di ba, sinasabi nila intermittent fasting is really good. And medyo short na tayo sa time. Sabi intermittent fasting daw is really good. Pero like, what will happen if the person is taking medication? Siyempre, may schedule yon, di ba? Paano ka mag-intermittent fasting? Kasi alam mo naman ang medication, may side effects, sisirain yung ano mo, gastric juices mo, or nagkakaroon ng medyo challenge, di ba? So, hindi siya pwede mag-intermittent fasting. Tama po ba ako?
Pwede. But it requires management. That's where you really need to come to our center because the doctors can help you. Our doctors are all integrative. So we can coach them how to do it, how to approach it. Ang problema lang dyan,
Ayun.
mawawala yung gamot.
Ay, yun ang maganda, sir, mawawala ang gamot, di ba? O, ibig sabihin naman kasi, kapag ka ikaw ay hindi na umiinom ng gamot, di ibig sabihin, ikaw ay magaling na. Tama po ba ako? But anyway, Sir Rico, alam mo, I really wanted to ask more questions on oras, pero alam ko, na-educate mo yung ating mga audience ngayon about biodynamic farming. Sabi nga, magtanim ka dyan, importante, organic yan. Sa susunod siguro, sir, pag-uusapan natin naman yan, yung mga farming naman na ganyan. Dahil nga, last time, I heard one of my guests, sabi niya, kapag na-depleted ang soil, eh talaga daw, hindi rin nutritious yung ating kakainin. But anyway, talagang wala na tayong oras. So, para maraming salamat talaga, Sir Rico. Before tayo mag-end, sir, imbitahin mo naman sila ulit doon sa inyong MiMMO Molecular Immunology Center. Alam ko nasa Centuria, Makati po yun, di po ba?
Yes pa. So sa mga tagapakinig, you're all welcome. Please come to the MiMMO Molecular Immunology Center. We are located at Unit 2104. That's the 21st floor of Centuria Medical Makati. And we'll be more than happy to help you with our basic therapies such as hydrogen therapy. Napakamura lang po niyan. It's one of the cheapest forms of cancer therapy for almost all types of cancers. And together with ASEA, we provide this mechanism or this therapy every single day.
Maraming salamat talaga, sir. Naku, talagang thank you again sa mga nanonood. Maraming salamat. I'm sure marami tayong natutunan today kay Sir Rico. Nagkaroon lang talaga ako ng glitches sa aking connection dito sa unfamiliar place ako dito sa isang hotel. But anyway, maraming salamat, sir. God bless you.
Thank you,
And
Miss Julia, can I share my number, by the way? Is it okay? Can I share my number?
Sure, please, yes.
I may be
Yes,
contacted at 0917 894 4629. So you can call me, you can text me 0917 894 4629.
Yeah. Ayan po. So, madali nyo. Kung hindi, tanong nyo po sa akin. Alam ko po kung saan ang clinic nila. Pupunta po ako doon. Ayan, maraming salamat ulit, Sir Rico. Nako, pagpalain pa ng Diyos ang inyong advocacy. Ayan po. Sa susunod po ulit, sa Friday po ulit, 7 o'clock. Ay, medyo season break pa pala ako ngayon. Sorry, medyo senior moments, magsi-season break tayo. But definitely, in God's perfect time, makakabalik tayo kaagad. Medyo lang tayo ng konti muna. Pero abangan nyo ulit kasi next time, marami tayong pag-usapan about naman mental health. Better science or better health pa rin. And of course, marami pa tayong pag-usapan na nakaka-inspire po talaga sa inyong lahat. Again, maraming salamat. God bless you all. And mag-ingat po kayong lagi. Remember, importante ang ating health. God bless you all.
ASEA Redox is the first and only supplement on the market scientifically tested and shown to signal the activation of genetic pathways and to affect genes that improve immune system health, help maintain a healthy inflammatory response, help maintain cardiovascular health, improve gut health, and modulate hormone balance. Are you done with the breakdown? Reach for the breakthrough.